Scientology thinks that they're somehow superior to viruses, illnesses, sicknesses, and it's like, Scientology, you're really not. Like, look, this is like a prime example. Hey guys, and welcome to Mangotology. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, go down below, click on the subscribe button, as well as turn on your bell notifications, and you'll get an alert every single time I post a new video exposing Scientology. So today we are going to be talking about the measles outbreak that is currently happening right now on Scientology's cruise ship, the Freewinds. And you might not even have known that Scientology had a cruise ship. We are going to be going more into detail about the Freewinds, about my experience with almost going onto the Freewinds, as well as I'm going to give you guys an update on my mental health, as well as more information on how my cult therapy sessions are going at the end of this video. We're going to get into the news story first, dissect it, and talk about what the media is leaving out of this story. I want to clarify that yes, the media is accurate. I'm not one of these like fake news type of people, and I'm not a Donald Trump supporter. I'm sorry. I know a lot of ex-Scientologists for some reason are, and I think it might be the cult aspect of Donald Trump and his regime, if you will. I am not someone who likes to talk about politics. Honestly, I can kind of almost care less about anything political, so we are not going to be going into that world. But anyways, I don't know why I brought that up. Oh, the mainstream media. Yes, there are like great reporters out there, but there are also a lot of really bad reporters. I've had people interview me for different, like even like international news sources or like tabloids and stuff, and their questions sometimes are so silly or make no sense, or it's just like someone who did like a quick Google search for like 5 minutes, and then they're asking me questions, like very loaded questions that they want like a 2-sentence answer to, and they ask a lot of like conspiracy theory level questions about Scientology, and I've kind of stayed away from doing a lot of media interviews. Sometimes if I'm friends with a journalist, or I know someone, or they call me, or I like someone's podcast or something, then yes, I will go and make statements or talk to the press. But I just feel like, and it sounds like this could be like in Scientology's defense, it's really not. They report on it without knowing about it, so therefore that gives Scientology the ammunition to say, look at the media, they're false reporting. Because honestly, a lot of people just don't know about Scientology. They weren't in, they're not educated, and it's very mysterious to a lot of people. So that's why I really like having my platform and having my YouTube channel. So when I see news stories and different things, and where there's holes in the story, just like how Scientology is anti-vaccine, which is clearly how this has all happened and stemmed from, in my opinion. So we're going to get into all of that. But yeah, it's just that I feel like the media doesn't really know. So as an ex-Scientologist, I feel like this is a great way for me to be able to address different things that are in the press and give you guys like the real true story, or the tea, if you will, about Scientology. And if you guys want me to, I can go and do this like a series almost, when kind of like big or pressing news stories come out. I can kind of be the expert, if you will, on both sides of the coin of someone who's been in Scientology and is now out, and kind of fill in the holes and the gaps in different news stories, and pretty much tell you guys what is the truth and what is really behind the scenes, or what's really going on with Scientology and what's happening in the press. Now, like I said a little bit earlier, like a minute or two ago, you might have not even have known Scientology had a cruise ship. It's not a cruise ship in the typical sense of it being like a Carnival cruise or a Disney cruise line. We're going to be having, you know, a brunch buffet with Mickey Mouse. It is not like that. I have not been on the ship. I wanted to talk more about this outbreak first, because I know I can go off on a tangent and ramble. So very quickly, it is where some of Scientology's highest level of auditing is delivered, and now they're doing like Congress lectures, and they're doing courses and like small seminars. We're going to get into what the Freewinds does more a little bit later in the video, but let's talk about the outbreak. So there has been various measles outbreaks, I believe, like happening in the United States. I have always been vaccinated. I, again, feel like it is like the right thing to do. I know that there are people who are anti-vax and who say that there are different chemicals and different things in these vaccinations. They're putting illnesses in your body, and I don't really know from like a very educated medical standpoint to talk about anti-vaxxing or vaccinations or to engage in debates on either side of the spectrum. I just know that it's pretty much a smart idea. Like, you don't want polio, you don't want measles, you don't want like any of these horrible diseases, and if a vaccine can prevent that, it's much better than dying from polio in 2019. And when I was in Scientology, very quickly too, I experienced the anti-vaccination cult like thinking of Scientology. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm sure you do, this is when there was a big outbreak of H1N1. Wasn't that like, I think it was like, this could sound so ignorant, but it was like from pigs or something like that, or they spread the disease. I don't know why, like that's popping up in my head, but something weird. It was a crazy outbreak of everyone like, we need to get vaccinated, we need to get vaccinated from this H1N1 virus. And I remember my parents were calling me up. This was maybe like 2010, 9, 11, somewhere in that range. And my parents were calling me up being like, you need to get vaccinated. Not the greatest idea to tell Scientology that, you know, you're thinking about getting vaccinated. Let's just say it like that. Now, I just said a minute ago that I believe in vaccinations, so don't come for me, but when I was brainwashed in Scientology, I was impressionable, and I believed all drugs were bad, all vaccinations, like anything that involved any type of like unnatural substance, I guess you can say, I thought was like horrible. It's just our government, our medical facilities were trying to make us really sick, so we're reliant on the pharmaceutical companies. I was brainwashed to believe all these different things. They're just trying to push these vaccinations so they make money, and I don't really know like all my line of thinking on it, but I had a Div 6 supervisor, because it was probably early on in my Scientology time. Her name was Deanna. She's still at Celebrity Center, I'm sure, in that course room, and I remember talking about this H1N1 virus with her for some reason, and she was saying how she's never been vaccinated, and this is the first time I really like talked to someone who wasn't like vaccinated or didn't believe in it like to such a strong degree where, you know, she sounded almost educated, but again, I wasn't smart enough to know both sides. Like, I was only willing to listen to what Scientology was telling me, and that's what I took as source, because they were the only ones willing to help me in my life, guys, up until this point. My family was like, go off to LA, see if you make it, see you in 6 months when you know, fall on your ass, essentially, and you don't make it as an actor. And I had no other relatives, even to this day, no one that talks to me. I didn't have a lot of close friends. I didn't believe in my former Catholic faith, so I didn't really know where to turn, and Scientology was promising me all the answers to everything that I've ever wanted to know. So when she was telling me, like, do not ever think about getting vaccinated with this vaccination, you know, you're going to get sick and you're putting like different molecules of this virus in your body, like how dumb can you be? And you don't know if it's safe or like what reactions you can get, and you're basically putting something in your body that you may not even be getting exposed to. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that almost kind of makes sense, and that sicknesses for the most part are psychosomatic. I don't know how Scientology justifies viruses even to this day. Like, if on a countertop you go like this and then you lick your mouth and then you get sick with like a stomach bug, Scientology will say you pulled it in, you were a potential trouble source. I mean, I guess I know what they would say, you know, and they'll say that you basically pulled it in, right? You pulled it in, those germs and those viruses, you know, made yourself not immune to it, right? Because you're not a super top level Scientologist at this point who's able to resist viruses, illnesses, sickness. But for some reason, there's a huge majority, I don't know the exact number, of OT7s and OT8s that have died of cancer at those levels specifically, that something happens on those levels where the cancer just gets pulled in, I guess, in Scientology term, that you somehow contract cancer and you get sick. It could just be that a lot of those people who end up on OT7 and OT8 who started on the, you know, ship with Hubbard, as we're talking about the ship and getting to, those people are old now, so of course maybe they're gonna get ill and die off, and those levels aren't able to protect you. So I listened to Deanna for about a week, and then I decided to fall for the media, you know, news stories saying get vaccinated, this is something that you do not want to contract. So I waited in line for like hours, because it was like one of those it was at like Hollywood High School, I think in LA, maybe it was. It was somewhere like a big public place, and they had thousands of people in line. So I waited hours to get this vaccination, and I didn't die, I didn't get sick, and I didn't have any side effects. And I just felt safer that, you know, there wasn't a chance that I would contract this disease or illness or whatever it actually was. I was brainwashed by it at first and thought, you know, maybe I should listen to Deanna. And then I said, nice sentiment, Deanna, to be concerned that, you know, I'm going to be in some sort of weird conspiracy with the government to kill us all off with this vaccination, but I'm going to get vaccinated. So a lot of Scientologists, long story short, will not get vaccinated. They will not vaccinate their kids. They'll have natural births at home, silent, like a water birth. And they're not going to use any epidurals, any drugs, anything to subside the pain, which to me sounds like a miserable experience. And to them, it's just like they don't want their children to have to run it out in Dianetics processing or have to like suffer the effects of drugs. If they are these elite beings as Scientologists, as parents who are going to bring a child into this world, why would you like set them up to be drugged to begin with or vaccinate your child? So that's how Scientology views it. But Deanna made it seem like it's so normal. Like, yes, like no one gets vaccinated. Like it's just like the thing in Scientology that you're not going to, you know, subject yourself or your kids to these diseases that, well, you're going to give them the disease, you know, you're basically being like a bad parent by like not protecting your child, but to them, like you're not exposing them to the chemicals or, you know, their weird line of thinking. So this is probably why this measles outbreak happened on the ship. It was reported that there was a female crew member who was on staff on the ship that actually had the measles disease or virus or whatever you would call measles. And they were in St. Lucia, which is like off the Caribbean to my knowledge, and they basically have the boat like docked and it's closed off. No one can leave. Again, because if you leave, you're going off onto that island, and they say it's so contagious where like if you like cough or like touch a surface or anything like that, if someone else in the area isn't vaccinated, then they have like a 90% chance of contracting it. Like that's how contagious it is. So they don't want that virus or those germs or anything to be spread, you know, throughout the island of St. Lucia or also probably throughout the ship. But it appears like they're still doing coursework, because I read some sort of statement that they're just like enjoying their time, like doing Scientology coursework and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like these are like the times that are very rude awakenings for Scientology to be like, hey, if Scientology worked, then why would she have contracted the measles? You know what I mean? Like, why would she have gotten so sick? Scientology thinks that they're somehow superior to viruses, illnesses, sicknesses, and it's like, Scientology, you're really not. Like, look, this is like a prime example. If she was maybe vaccinated, and again, you guys do what you want. If you want to vaccinate, don't vaccinate. I'm just reporting the story for you guys. But with her, you know, maybe if she was vaccinated, this wouldn't have happened. And now Scientology is getting bad press because people are reporting, you know, Freewinds equals Scientology. And now I'm filling in the hole that Scientology equals anti-vax. And again, they might even issue a statement being like, we're not anti-vaccine. It's the individual person's choice. We believe in, you know, whatever their fluff piece, you know, statement would be. I don't really know how they would handle that from a public relations standpoint, honestly. But I think that, you know, we're all smart enough to know you don't believe what Scientology spokespeople say. If they say that, you know, we don't take a position on gay rights. You may not take a position publicly, but that doesn't mean you don't discriminate against them on the inside. So they use words very carefully, how they construct things. So you may think like, oh yeah, they're not taking a position on gay rights. Like they're not getting involved in the personal lives of people. Okay, but go a little bit deeper than surface level. You're in Scientology for even just like a hot minute and you say you're gay, you're going to find out real quick that Scientology does not support gay people. So they can say one thing and really believe a whole nother thing, and they're not a normal organization that is going to risk the bad public relations at this point in time. So they're not really issuing statements about this measles outbreak, and I just think that it's so dangerous for them to tell or educate people, whether it's publicly or behind the scenes in a course room with me, privately, however it actually went down. I just don't think that Scientology should involve themselves in medical decisions or whatever. Like, you can believe in your space aliens, you can, which, you know, Scientology is not just about aliens, but you know what I mean, like whatever. You can do your auditing, you can do whatever you want in this world. Like I said, like you can worship a cow, like if that makes you happy. But if you're telling people like don't get treatment for your cancer. Don't do XYZ because it's going to banish you from our faith. And then the person dies. Like, there's a big OT. She was like, I think in charge of the flag OT committee, possibly. Her name was like Kay Champagne. I don't know like her whole story. This happened recently, but I think like she like died of cancer or something, but she was like the head of Flag's like OT committee. And again, she probably was doing natural treatment and not doing anything because they think, oh, I'm just PTS. I have overts and withholds. I need to go into session and handle it. And, you know, Scientology is actually harming people by telling them don't get vaccinated, don't do these things. And something so simple as getting a shot in your arm that could then go and help prevent this, to where now they're being quarantined and they're being held in St. Lucia and they can't leave the ship. I mean, it's not such a theta OT environment, which we're going to get into about what the ship actually is and what happens on the ship. But it's not really so OT and lovely and magical when, you know, you're being quarantined, you know, for a measles outbreak. Like, anyways, this is what was in a news article. Dr. Merlene Fredericks James, the island's chief medical officer, said Thursday that the ship is still in port and that no one has been allowed to leave it. Whilst in our ports, we will continue to monitor and will not allow disembarkation, given the contagious nature of the disease. Fredericks James identified the infected person as a female crew member who is in stable condition. She said that the ship's doctor has requested 100 doses of the measles vaccine and that St. Lucia is providing them at no cost. An unidentified person who answered the phone at the church's media center said no one was immediately available for comment. Very interesting, and I think this is a tactic to avoid having to address it. No one's available for comment. Interesting. You know why? Because they want to control their media and what comes out from Scientology from their TV network. They have a new season that's airing. They're not going to be talking about their measles outbreak, but this is how Scientology is controlling the media right now. View our television network for the truth. Go on the Scientology TV app, go on YouTube, whatever, and you're going to hear from our voice what Scientology is. If Scientology goes and issues a statement and they're talking to the media, it can get misconstrued. They're going to have to address this measles outbreak, and it's not going to look good for them. So I think that Scientology says, hey, you know, we're not going to even say anything, and we're just going to have no one available for comment because it's better than making us look bad that there's an outbreak on our ship. It's also interesting, as I'm looking through this article as well too, that they said that medical surveillance will be necessary during the incubation period for measles, which ranges from 10 to 12 days before symptoms appear. So people could right now be sick, and in 10 days, you know, it can actually like surface and, you know, start to show like the symptoms of what measles are. I'm reading here as well in this article, so if you guys don't know, if you're an idiot like me, it says symptoms of measles include a high fever, runny nose, and red spotted rash. Most people recover, but measles can lead to serious complications including pneumonia, brain swelling, and even death in some cases. So it's just really interesting because Scientology will be so against like vaccination, for example, but if you have brain swelling and you're dead, how can then you receive auditing to go up the bridge to free your spirit if you're dead in the grave because you didn't want to like listen to medical science? Like, science and spirituality are two separate things. Yes, you can be spiritual and engage in like that sort of higher level practice, but you can't negate medical science either when something is the case by like science or biology or chemistry, anatomy, any of that. Like, that's something that isn't debatable because of spirituality. So I don't think Scientology really still wants to acknowledge or recognize that. So they are stuck on that ship, and luckily it's just one person and they seem to be in stable condition, but it should be like a real hard lesson for Scientology. Now they're requesting 100 doses. It seems like that's a lot. I don't know what you guys think about this, but if they're requesting 100 doses, is that because there's possibly 100 unvaccinated people on the ship? Could you imagine if there's people who have contracted it? Because if up to 90% of people are contracting it, you know, just from how contagious it is, could there be a significant number, hundreds of people that could be on the ship? I don't think hundreds, but let's just say 100 just to be safe. That could be 90 out of 100 people that get this virus. Let's say maybe 20 people are vaccinated. There's a possible maybe like 80 people on that ship that could currently have symptoms that they don't even know about because they're incubated at this point in time. So I'm really curious to what is going to be happening in the future, if there's going to be more reported cases. but they requested 100 doses. So a lot of people could not be vaccinated because of Scientology's position on vaccinations. But you're only going to know about that position if you were a Scientologist or an ex-Scientologist or have had some involvement, because they don't issue like a direct statement, as we know, about their stance on vaccination. So Scientology's cruise ship, if you want to call it a cruise ship, is where OT8 is traditionally delivered. They now have different like seminars that are like a week or two long. They have an artist convention, which I almost went to. They have different things, like they have one on finances, one on public relations, one on disseminating Scientology, one on making your postulates stick. And their big thing about postulates, it's almost like you go on the ship, right? And you can postulate anywhere. It's basically like a self-determined decision. Like, I am a multi-millionaire from my company, Rock Salt. I don't know, whatever. I just make up random things, right? And you say it from the present time as if it's happening, like I am, not I am going to be, I will be, like I am. Like that's how like they kind of teach you to postulate in Scientology. So when you go on the ship, they say your postulates come true because it's such an OT environment, because they're delivering the highest level of Scientology on the ship. So you'll go there, and be like, my record is going to sell 1 million units of my trumpet playing or whatever. And I remember there's one registrar in Scientology that they always bring out at Celebrity Center who says, like, I went on the ship and I said, I'm going to get a record deal and I'm going to have my music career take off. And then he got a deal and he started doing things. I forget what record label, honestly, that it was, but he got some type of record deal. It's like, but you're still in Scientology, and like what happened to the record deal? Like I don't see, like I looked it up and it's like I don't really see like what music actually came out about it. So anyways, they like use that as like a success story. Like go on the ship, like even if you're not OT, like just go on the ship, do one of the seminars for like $2,000. When you're on the ship, you're gonna meet so many theta OT people, and then like whatever it is, like I'm gonna have a TV show, I'm gonna have a sitcom, like whatever like you want to do, I'm going to be a movie star. Go on the ship, put those postulates out there into the universe, and when you come back to LA, you are going to basically pull in whatever postulates you put out there while you were on the ship. And it's all like hokey pokey, mind games that Scientology is doing on the ship. But for example, it's probably, I think that's what it was, probably like almost $3,000, I think, to go to the artist convention, which I almost went to. I was completely maxed out, my credit cards, everything completely done. And it was at the point in my Scientology career, if you would say, where I was willing to almost, I was kind of like an addict, like you're willing to do anything at that point to get like your next fix of Scientology, because it's the greatest good. So I was asking my dad for money, and I asked to charge his credit card the money, and I'll be like, I'll pay you back, I'll give you these payments. I couldn't even pay what I was currently doing. Luckily, he said no. I actually just went looking through my email, and I found the email that I sent to my dad back on March 25th, 2012, telling him about the Freewinds Artist Convention to try to get him on board with giving me the money to go on the Freewinds. This is what I said. I have a lot of friends who are going to this retreat, and I think it would be really cool. It's hosted by Scientology. Basically, you go on a 10-day cruise, and all the meals, excursions, and accommodations are included in the price. You go to all these Caribbean destinations, and the reason I'd want to go is because you go to a ton of acting and entertainment business seminars, since it's targeted to actors. Plus, I'd probably meet a lot of people around my age there, and they will be from CCI, aka Celebrity Center International, and other places. And I kind of felt bad even asking, but I'm like, well, I thought maybe because it would help my career, because like the different Scientology celebrities go on the ship, so they say like the ZZZ list, not like the A-list ones would be at this convention, but I'd be able to meet friends, and I'm trying to like pitch it as like, I'm going to meet other industry people and directors and writers and producers, and we all come together on the ship for like 2 weeks and do these Scientology services. It's a 4-person shared accommodation. So they have bunk beds, like 2 bunk beds in the room with 4 people, and you're still paying $3,000 to be on the ship. So sounds like Scientology for you. Anyway, that they can't even give you your own room. Like they make you, you could, but you'd have to pay like, it was like $10,000 for like the 2 weeks or something if you wanted like your own room. So that's how they got the price down. And on the fine print, it said it was a 4-person room. They didn't tell you that right away. And like, I'm not sleeping with 4 other people in one room. Like, what if I'm like motion sickness and I'm in this like cramped room, like on Scientology's boat, And anyways, it didn't end up happening. There were other seminars on the ship I was thinking about going to, but it's not just for OT8s, it's for anyone who has a credit card, Visa, Master, American Express, whatever. You're able to go on the ship at any level on the bridge. I never got to OT8, so I never did like the highest level, but that's what it traditionally was meant for. I'm not going to go into the whole history of Hubbard and the ship and evading taxes and prosecution and persecution, most likely at that point in time when he was like really coming under fire from the world for Scientology, when there was a lot of different things going on, Operation Snow White. There was a lot of different things happening in Scientology's world in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, pretty much like the whole entire existence of Scientology. There's always some sort of scandal, drama, stuff going on. So if you guys are interested in the video, again, with me, I'm not really like someone to talk about like the ship. There are other Scientologists that, you know, even was on the ship with Hubbard. This isn't like my area of expertise because I didn't have like firsthand knowledge of the ship. There's Scott Campbell, who was on the ship. You guys can look him up on YouTube. I think he was on Karen De La Couriere's channel. She's someone you could probably get more information on the ship from. There's Janice Gillum Grady. She's written like 2 or 3 books now, and she was like a Commodore messenger and like worked with Hubbard as, like I said, one of his messengers and someone who would work hand in hand with Hubbard. So she's someone you guys can look up to get more information on the ship. And it is basically a way Scientology was able to be on sea. So again, Hubbard couldn't be, you know, put behind bars, and Scientology can be going on ship, but they kept it as like their OT level retreat, and then opened it up once there wasn't a lot of OTs and they wanted to make money. They started having these different seminars on the ship. So that's what goes on. You're not going to be able to like sit poolside. Like they have a pool on the ship and different things. They have, you know, different restaurants, and it's basically where you go to do distraction-free Scientology, they call it. When you go on the ship, they take your passport, so keep that in mind. You're turning over your passport so you can't escape when they like dock at one of the different islands that they go to. So you're basically trapped there. You go on a routing form when you first come on the ship, and you have to see different terminals before you can start your service. So to see the IAS registrar, you have to see the bookstore officer, you have to see your regular registrar for, you know, auditing and whatever. You have to go see like all different salespeople within the ship, and they have to sign off or you can't start your services. And they know where you're sleeping. They can come to your room. It's not like you can go home because you're on the ship, and they're going to be knocking on your door saying, where's our check to the IAS? You need to give over $25,000 today. So that's kind of like the routine. I don't know exactly how much they ask for on the ship specifically, but again, when you're seeing multiple terminals, I'm estimating you probably, before you even start your courses, you're giving between 20,000 probably on the very, very low end to probably, you know, the sky's the limit depending on how many books that they reg for you. There was even a story once, like someone was asked to pay for 30 sets of basic books at like $3,500 a piece in order to get out of like ethics trouble like on the ship. So that's like right there, probably 70 or 80,000. So I'm estimating up to $250,000 just to like begin your courses. And you can do, like if I was going on the ship, you have to be like working on like different books and lectures like while you're doing the convention and stuff, again, to increase their statistics because they want to keep hitting you up for different courses and different things. You're already there on the ship. You might as well take this Congress course, take this lecture, take this, take that. And so they can try to produce more money for Scientology's management and, you know, help you get more spiritually aware. So you can be doing book and lecture courses, and they say like you can get through so much faster. Like if you're on the ship and you have no distractions of the outside world, aka you're in a cult, you're able to go through, you know, what would take 2 years doing basic books, you can do it maybe in 3 months. So some people go there and just do all their book and lecture courses and try to like knock them out. But at the same time, you have to pay for the accommodations. You're on this boat, they have your passport, and that's basically how it goes. Like when you're on the ship, you're doing courses, whether you're doing OT8 and you're doing auditing. That's one type of area, obviously, what you're going to be doing. You're going to be going through ethics interviews, or like you're going to be doing like your book and lecture courses, or one of these Congress convention seminars that you would be doing where you would be going, like I said, for like a money course for like 2 weeks. And in between, you're going to the course room. So that's what I'm predicting what's going on in the measles outbreak, or they're just like in Scientology's course room and they're just hammering out their lectures and book courses. Like, don't like think about like what's obvious like happening right now. Like they probably briefed the whole ship, like, don't worry, like it's controlled, it's one person. Hammer out your book and lectures, go in session, do Scientology, don't focus on the measles because it's not that big of a deal. Like they'll just try to like, we are OTs, we're powerful beings, we'll handle it. And you know, you'll get a vaccination and we're going to approve it from our medical doctor here. It's not going to affect your spiritual progress. And that's probably how they're handling it now that there's like a big outbreak. And I'm sure there may be other future updates. I'll let you guys know what I end up hearing, but that's basically what I have on that. So anyways, like I was saying, I'll give you guys a little bit of an update here at the end of the video if you're interested in hearing about like the mental health stuff and seeing like the cult therapist and like what is actually like going on. You guys have seen like I go through periods where like I'm posting like a million videos or I'm not posting at all, and it really is hard with my mental health because after the surgery and after everything, I've been trying to kind of battle my own like inner demons and stuff, if you will, and get myself to the place where I'm kind of like forcing myself in a way, like be productive, you're gonna film today. And it's not that I dislike doing this, obviously, like this is what I do for work and what I enjoy for a living and just doing for fun as well. I love doing YouTube and I'm glad I can do it on my own schedule because I don't think I could hold a job with a normal employer with how my mental health honestly is. Like I'm not reliable to like show up to like a regular like day job type of thing with my mental health right now. Even if it was like a day or two a week, like I don't think I can do it because I go through these bouts, whether it's like my pain, obviously, that I still have in my lower back and stuff from like recovering from the surgery. But, you know, it's just been hard because, you know, for months I wasn't moving after my surgery and only recently I'm getting myself going again. But it's just been so hard to just live like a normal life. And it sounds so weird, but it's hard for me to face the world some days. And like even like today, like I have just like crippling anxiety, and I don't know like what it is too, but I have like this like severe exhaustion where I get a lot of sleep, but like even like through the day, like I feel like I just want to like sleep and lie down, and it's like I have to force myself to like get up, get going, like be productive, because then if I'm not productive, I'm getting anxiety, and the anxiety attacks are like really real. And I don't think I really suffered from anxiety this bad, like anything sets me off. And it was interesting because Jeff said to me, he's like, you're having these anxiety attacks because you're trying to like control what like you have like the power to control, because a lot of things in your life are out of control. And it's something as simple as like there's dishes in the sink and I'll have so much panicking anxiety about it. Or like if I know like there's like laundry like sitting on the chair, or oh my god, like there's so many dishes after I was cooking. And the reason I bring this up is because Scientology is very against like, you know, mental health is just, you know, only can handle in Scientology. It's all just like phenomena based off of your reactive mind, and it goes so much more deeper than that, guys, but that's not why I'm sharing. I don't know. I just like talking to you guys because I honestly don't have anyone else to talk to about this sort of stuff. But I have these like really debilitating panic attacks. And I had one so bad, like I was watching TV and I don't even know like what set it off, but something set me off and I was like hyperventilating, like literally like hyperventilating and crying. And Jeff got like a paper bag, he's like, breathe into it. But I was like so caved in my world in this panic attack, like I couldn't get out of like the mindset of it. Like I didn't even like, I knew he was talking, but it's like I couldn't like respond, like I couldn't breathe, I couldn't, like it just felt like my body was just like shutting down. Like I literally thought I was just gonna pass out. Like that's how bad like the panic attack was. And in it, it was like I was having PTSD about Scientology. And it's weird because I haven't had this level of PTSD about Scientology like in a while at least. And like I felt like so unsafe, and I was like thinking about, I'll do a video about like the mindset of an ex-Scientologist like I told you guys about, but it was almost like I was in like this auditing room, and it was a specific time I was in an auditing room and we were trying to find like this oppressive person in my life, but they were also interrogating me as well. And I just remember like that session, like as I was in this panic attack, and I'm like, I'm not safe, I'm not safe, I'm not safe, I'm not safe. And I just kept like repeating that, like I need to get out of here, I need to get out of here, like you can't keep me here, you can't keep me here, like I have to like let me go. And I'm just like repeating these phrases over and over again, like from what I remember of the panic attack. And I just remember being on the cans essentially, like, you know, thinking my inner thoughts, because it's not like I had said that out loud, but this is like what was going on in my head, like the panic like that I was feeling on the inside, even though I was on the e-meter, like trying to pass essentially these interrogations in my head. You know, I felt trapped, and like for some reason, I don't know what triggered me, but it was almost like I felt trapped in myself or something in that moment in the panic attack. And maybe that's what triggered it. I really don't know. I'm not a therapist, like why this panic attack was happening. And, I made a video on my other channel, Mango Tea, and I also did one on stevenmangotv. You guys check them out if you're interested in beauty drama, or you're interested in, I've done, Jeff, my husband, has done cooking videos, and we do, more lighthearted stuff. And that's why I think, I want to do those type of videos when it's too overwhelming to talk about Scientology, because it's really real, and other ex-members can try to put on a brave face or pretend it's all behind them. I know for a fact with almost anyone that you guys see on camera on YouTube have repercussions, even if they don't believe it, they do, of what they suffered for or with in Scientology. They left, and I know so many, even when I left, that were still so brainwashed, and maybe they're not now, but so many that still believed in Scientology's principles, or still won't see a therapist, or believe in mental health, or think that they need help because they're OT. It's but you're talking on YouTube about how horrible Scientology is, but you think that you're an OT? But you say everything in Scientology is a scam, but you think you're OT and you don't need therapy? So how does that make any sense? Because you're somehow believing in it if you think that you're this OT, right? At least in my mind, I would think that. So that's their business essentially. But with me, for a while, I didn't want to go to therapy and I didn't want to deal with it. I just honestly thought that, I knew better in some way about mental health. Even if I wasn't believing in Scientology necessarily now, I still somehow believed that maybe it was, again, some sort of delusion of grandeur, that I thought I was above a therapist in what I knew about mental health because of Scientology's complex games that they play with your mind through these different courses and books and lectures and seminars, and you think that you know about how the human mind works because it almost makes sense in a illogical way. I can answer that for you guys in another video if you're interested in knowing what I mean specifically by that. And again, it takes many years to really figure out what is true about mental health, what is not true, and Scientology tries to be hey, there's no way to measure depression or whatever, but it's if you're in bed for 6 months and you don't move, that's a pretty indicator that it's severe to some degree, that something's going on in your mind. So yeah, I was somehow triggered about Scientology the other night, and even today, I just feel I could just sleep. I don't want to make any videos, and sometimes I see different things online that trigger me, or trolls on the internet and stuff like that, but I'm having good days and I'm having bad days, more or less. I've been seeing the therapist. I don't know if he really understands my plight and my struggle. He's just basically telling me you're a survivor, you're so brave, but he doesn't have much more to tell me but that. So it's not he can really help me understand. I know it's only been a couple sessions, but he hasn't really helped me be able to really understand what I've been through, or really understanding what I went through, or asking questions to find out what different things happened to me to help me be able to move on from a lot of different things. It's not just Scientology, guys. There's a lot of things in my personal life, things growing up. I don't have good relationships with my parents, my sister. I cut them out completely again, I've shared in other videos. I have no in-person friends. I have one friend, Juliana, that I talk to in text, who lives in Boston, and that's not enough. I need human interaction. And, I have debilitating social anxiety. I might seem like someone who could come on camera and talk for hours on end and ramble, but in person, I could maybe say 3 words and shut down, and I cannot talk to 2 people without extreme panic and fear. And I would like to talk to a therapist who can help me work through those problems. But the Scientologist, it's he doesn't get what I've really been through, or how to really address the different stuff. It was just especially when I was talking about the social anxiety, he was just kind of oh, well, it's just fear, get over it. You're going to have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and talk to people. And it's okay, but if it's so debilitating and such a panic for me that I can't leave the house to get in that situation, and, if I'm going to embarrass myself, or if I don't have someone to go with maybe to make me feel comfortable, he's not offering solution. It's not tough love is just kind of it's fear, get over it. It's yeah, but it's a mental health thing. Why aren't you able to offer me some type of tools or guidance or something to help me with these type of problems I'm facing? And that all aligns to me feeling when I was in Scientology, I was part of a group, and I was part of others who I felt understood me, and I was with other like-minded people, and I don't have that now. I attract a lot of toxic people in my life, users, people who would take from me, and I'm trying to be a stronger person now and not allow those type of people in my life. But when it comes to my mental health, I'm struggling and I don't know really what to do now, because I'm gonna have to try to trust and open up to maybe someone new, because I don't know if this is the right match or not for me. I like him. He's very emotional and very sympathetic, and I think that's nice to some degree, but it's like I'll talk about something and it's like he's almost about to cry, and it's like I'm almost like consoling him about my problems, and it's like it's not helping me because it's making me anxious. Like, why is he so emotional about my life when I feel like he should be a little bit more like that about it, so it's not triggering to me. So as you guys can see, like I have a lot of anxiety, and even at the speed I talk and my like mixed racing thoughts, and it's hard because I don't really know how to like calm down. Like he even told me like download like a mindfulness app on your phone. Okay, I can download a mindfulness app on my phone, but then why am I coming and paying to go to therapy with you when all I need is a $20 app? Like if a $20 app worked for me, I wouldn't need to go to therapy. Now, again, like people said, like take psych drugs, take anti-anxiety, whatever. Like I don't want to be overloaded on medicine, because like, yes, it probably might help panic attacks and different things like that. And I see it from that perspective, like if I wasn't able to like get out of the house, like I was for several months, or if in certain situations I might need that probably type of level of being medicated probably. I feel like for me, I much rather do talk therapy, something more holistic as well, and try to handle my problems, because yes, I can take a pill and yes, it might calm me down, but if I'm still being triggered with these thoughts, to me at least, if I'm still having unresolved, problems in my life, unresolved tensions, being severely bullied growing up and being attacked, if I don't get over those different things, Scientology, right? If I don't learn or come to terms with what I've been through, then I'm going to be on medication my whole entire life, and it can maybe get you by a little bit, but I would much rather work on my problems to fix them, because that's what appealed to me about Scientology, that I could just go and get auditing, and once you erase an incident, it's erased, and it's not going to have any power or effect over your life. So that was one thing that really appealed to me about Scientology's mental health fixes, but it's been that sort of rude awakening to realize like no one can offer that, and if it was true, then everyone would be getting auditing, right? If you could really erase these incidents, and it's not true. And it was a rude awakening that mental health is a real thing just as much as physical health is, and after years of being scared off about it, only recently am I realizing how serious mental health is. And I could pretend all I want that these mental health symptoms that arise in me aren't real, and it's just something that I could just go on metal cans and talk to someone about, and then never have it have charge or power over me again. And it's like, that's not realistic. You can move on from things, but you're not going to be able to erase them forever, at least I think. But yeah, that's basically what's going on with me, guys. I'm just hoping this year I could really grow my YouTube channels to where I want them to be, and I can pursue my passion online and being able to make videos and do what I love to do, and have the ability to do it where it's not, panic inducing, because it's hard when you work for yourself and you have to show up and be on camera and talk, and it's very hard to kind of face the world some days. So it's been taking a lot out of me, but it's also very rewarding, and being able to talk to you guys, because you guys at least understand Scientology probably to some degree when I get your emails and messages, whereas with someone who's only heard of Scientology in probably very short mentions, like the therapist like probably heard about it a couple times like in the news or something, but doesn't really know what it is. It's almost like I have to spend 6 months explaining it in order to get to a place where they understand, to know how to help me about it. So I don't know. I don't want to appear like I'm also a case of terminal uniqueness. I think obviously there's a lot of people who've gone through what I've gone through, but I'm just trying to find someone who could relate and understand and be competent. There's a lot of therapists, but someone who's competent to be able to kind of understand me to where I'm able to get the help. So anyways, I just want to get all of that off of my chest. I know that this turned out probably be a very long video, but I love all of you guys who tune in and listen to me talk and watch my videos and support me and share them on social media. You guys can follow me at Steven Mango. If you are a real mangotologist, if you watched all the way through, I think that's what I'm gonna call you guys, mangotologist from now on. But Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Go check out my other channels down below. I have new beauty drama on Mango Tea. I have new videos on stevenmangotv. I will have more Scientology videos to come this week. I am going to try to relax tonight. I have been so anxious the last couple days, as I just told you guys about, so hopefully I can kind of calm myself down and get this video out for you guys. So hopefully it comes out today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.